So we finally found Dionysus after a bunch of runs. I've probably done 30 between the update for patch 11 video that I made and this one where I finally saw him again. So we finally get to give him the gift so I can actually get him a bit more consistently, force it to happen this time, and start to see some more of his boons. But we do get to see 2 new ones here. His dash with Blight Wine and his cast with Festive Fog. I've tried both. I find it really weird that Festive Fog only seems to be a cast item for him. I think it's one of the first times that we've really seen a dash and a cast to deviate pretty dramatically from each other on a god's boons, which I don't think I like, because I actually really like Festive Fog and I don't like Blight Wine all that much. I think it's fine on the attacks, but I find Festive Fog just way more interesting, and I hope we can see it be put on the dash. Aphrodite's dash weakens, her cast weakens, Zeus's dash drops lightning, his cast drops lightning. They aren't drastically different in the way they operate. I don't know why they are here. I don't know. It just kind of feels weird to me. I just don't like it. After party we already saw, like I said. I feel like Festive Fog kind of fits more in line with the theme that I feel like they should have just kept going with on him, of make him a more defensive hero, or god. And it kind of got away from that feeling with the Blight Poison. I don't know. I really like this fog though. It slows enemies that come in contact with it. It actually shuts down some pretty interesting mechanics. It's actually really interesting. I really like it, and it just extends on the fact that it kind of sucks that his dash doesn't give it as well. And I don't know what possessed that decision, and it's frustrating to me that is the case. I finally went down into the Infernal Gates. I messed up. I didn't actually realize how they worked. So after I realized how they work, I had to run a whole bunch. I've only actually gone down in one. It's alright. I already hated the kill everything with dodging, because there's some really fucking stupid mechanic monsters in here that just aren't fun to deal with. And I don't know that putting them down and that was the right decision. I think with what they were going for originally was a better idea. I just think that mechanic was a bad way to go about it. I think there's more creative ways you can make a challenge room harder without just don't get hit, especially in a game where a lot of the enemy types aren't conducive to necessarily getting through without getting hit. I think you have brimstones, which are hard as fuck to dodge. Essentially a hit scan enemy that you just can't be near if you don't want to get hit. In Apostle Fields, you have the Eastern Island heads, which are unbelievably inconsistent. Not to mention the blood bombers. Once you get down there, if they start showing up as regular enemies in those Infernal Gates, it's just not a fun mechanic. I was a little frustrated in the last patch when all of a sudden we were faced with this criteria of sometimes you just have to dodge and hope for the best, because it, more than anything, facilitated really just don't get fucked, don't get hit gameplay in ways that I didn't really feel worked for the game. And I feel the same way about them. My issue was never that they were a challenge room type. My issue was always there's better challenges that you could have done, and that challenge is really boring, and the enemies aren't conducive to that particular challenge being fun. I got to play around with the randomize loot thing. I really hate that you do that on the front door. I don't entirely know why I feel that way. I just feel like I feel like it would just feel better if you did it on the item at the end of the room. I can't imagine that it would make that much of a difference if that's how it worked. Just conceptually in my mind, doing that at the end, once the item's dropped, to me personally, just feels like it would be better than doing it at the start of the room. And I could be like I said, I don't entirely know why my brain is just like, I think this would be nicer, but it's just the way I feel. Trying to think of what some of the other what are some other Dionysus stuff? Oh, Blight wine on attack for Dionysus. Was the other one I had forgotten to mention earlier. It was alright on attack. I imagine for bosses is going to be a lot more useful than just for regular enemies, because a lot of regular enemies just die so quick anyway. So it's kind of a whatever thing. So I did mess up really bad on Infernal Gates earlier because I'm bad at everything that I do, and I didn't actually understand mechanically how they function. I actually spec'd out of all my Pact of Punishment scroll stuff, because I thought you had to pay those souls to get in. I didn't realize that it was just you had to have those souls in the Pact of Punishment, because I, A, can't read apparently, and B, I'm just an idiot. So that was fun to learn. I also discovered, and I don't have enough for it yet, I discovered some pact thing in the room with Skelly. I don't know what it's for. I don't recall what patch note that would have been in, or if that's been in here this whole time. I don't know what it is. It needs 15 of those souls. I don't know if that's in the Pact of Punishment, or if that's on you. So I'm gonna try and get 15 at some point. I'm gonna be busy playing Anthem and Metro Exodus tomorrow, which is gonna suck horribly. I'm still not entirely sure how I'm gonna split my time there. But yeah, I didn't know that this pillar, I saw 3 pillars. I don't, and like I said, I don't know what they're for. I don't remember. I guess I missed them in one of the patches, or I just missed them being in the game naturally. I just happened to notice an examine button when I walked by it earlier and clicked on it. It was like, hey, this exists. I'm like, oh, that's nice to. That's nice to know.
That dog is not your clique.
Trying to think if there's anything else immediately that I want to touch on. Nope, I think those were the main 3 things that I had kind of missed from my last video just because they hadn't shown up, or I hadn't been at a juncture where I could get to them fully yet. So, my final thoughts on those 3 things are, I like the idea of Dionysus. I think he's interesting. I want them to change the dash to do the same thing that the charge does. The randomized loot is interesting in a way different way. I wish it worked at the end of a room instead of at the start. However, I don't think it's worth 1,000 darkness drop for it. You know, maybe when we get the full release, there will be something in the game that facilitates needing something like that, but I went from 3 to 37 keys in, I think, like a 2-hour game session off of the merchant alone, essentially.
I
got
really
some pretty
should
good
like
trades on
actually
him.
look at what I'm
He
taking.
super powerhoused me in through getting those 37 keys to unlock the ability. And that's kind of the problem, right? Is you need 37 keys for this thing. It costs 1,000 darkness. And at that point, right then, everything that upgrade would be useful for has essentially been taken care of. The only thing that I can really think for where it is in early access right now that you benefit from that upgrade is getting some more Infernal Souls just to get some more Pact of Punishment stuff. However, I can't help but feel that at that juncture, you are probably getting to the Hydra and killing it enough to where the 5 at the end of the Hydra, or the 3 or 5 at the end of the Hydra, however many it is, should be enough. I don't think it comes in. I think it's way too expensive for how potentially useless it actually is at a point where you're already most likely completing the game on average on a run. I can generally make it to the Hydra out of 4 or 5 runs. I can make it to the Hydra 3 times, and usually 2 of those are successes. So, I mean, 2 out of 3 isn't great, and I'm really bad at this game. So, I'm on the low end of that curve. If you're average or on the top of that curve, that new mirror upgrade is just going to be completely worthless to you. Like I said, that's 1,000 darkness down. And I mean, if you haven't invested in the Pact of Punishment mirror limitation, and you have infinite darkness available to your mirror, fine, I guess. It's another consumable that you get to carry around with you and dick around with at your leisure. However, if you use the mirror limiter at all in any fashion, you absolutely aren't going to need that upgrade, and it's going to be essentially worthless. I've been keeping my darkness on my mirror down to like 1,500. So, I mean, I can't justify that one item taking up the majority of my mirror darkness. I just can't. The Infernal Gates, I want to see that challenge gone. I don't like it. I don't think it's good. I think the rooms themselves are interesting. I think it's good that we have something that you miss out on if you don't actively make the game harder. I think it's good that you have an incentive for people to make the game more difficult, to trying to get into more challenging content. I cannot stress how much I think that challenge is garbage. There is almost zero redeeming feature to that challenge in my mind with the design of enemies in this game. It's just not there. It's not polished enough. It's not good enough. And, you know, you can take that for what that is, the criticism that it is. It's one of the more disappointing things to find out is still in the game for me. So, yeah. I don't know if every one of those Infernal Gates has 3 exits. I think it's interesting to have another, like, potential portal exit like Chaos that works on a different payment system than Chaos. I think Chaos's health one is a little trite and boring, so it's nice again that we have difficulty being the limiter to this portal. So it's nice, and you can get some pretty good. From what I could tell, you can get some fairly decent stuff out of it. So that's always a plus. I've seen Centaur Hearts quite frequently in there, which are always nice. It's always nice to have more HP sometimes, as long as it's not like at the detriment of your damage, of course. So yeah, I guess the only real content that I have left to figure out what it is at this point is whatever that Pact statue was, or whatever, in the room with Skelly, and then I pretty much have explored all the content outside of some story stuff with specific characters who I just haven't talked to. I capped Deuce's storyline, which makes me sad. I am dying for the day that we get more Deuce's storyline, because she is She is best girl, and I will be with her forever. So hopefully we get that soon. I don't know when I'm gonna work on that statue thing. We have Anthem, we have Metro Exodus dropping. Next month we have Devil May Cry 5 dropping. So it might be sometime in April that I actually really go hard to try and figure out what the fuck that statue is. I'll still be doing some Hades runs here and there, just so I don't get to the point where I'm like completely awful. And I'll of course be checking back on it during the next update to see how that goes. But thank you all for stopping by again, hearing me rant for a little while, probably a long little while, and just have a wonderful day. I'll catch you later.